Welcome into 11 Personnel presented by Monticello Bank. He's Adam Luckett. I'm Nick Roush, and this is one of our favorite shows of the year. We talk Kentucky football here on 11 Personnel, but before every season, we take a step back, 10,000 feet. We look at the entire sports landscape to give out our favorite win total wagers of the year. It's the College Football Win Total Show. Luckett, you've been hard at it. You've been pounding the pavement. How does it feel that we finally got here?
It feels awesome. It just feels awesome. I'm glad we're here. I'm surprised you don't want to talk about new eligibility policies.
Okay, so just from the jump, I've done this for about, 10, 12 years, something like that. There is I love when people say, like, they'd be like, Matt wants him to be bad. There is a certain level where, like, bad is good for business because it gets people, like, they're pissed off, they're engaged because they're like, this sucks, like, damn it, fire everybody. But then you hit a critical mass where people just check out, where it's just too much and they're done with it. And that's what happened on Tuesday night. I'm sorry that you had to be there for it, Luckett. But when I saw all of that unfolding, I was just like, you all, SEC, you suck. Like, not like the act of it. They don't even know how to make a rule and clearly define it. They don't have lawyers involved. It's so stupid. The Warriors are going to win. Like, we're just going in circles here, spinning around and around. And that is why, Luckett, we're not going to spend today going in circles like a dog chasing our tail. We're going to have fun just talking about the actual sport because I got in the mentions of a bunch of other SEC fan bases yesterday. That's what happens. You go on SEC Mike's show. He drags you into the mud.
Yeah, you got to have the mute button. You got to have the mute button ready. Like, you just have to sometimes. You can read a couple of them, but you can't have that blowing you up all day.
But it felt good. Like, oh, we're talking about the sport, the games, the teams. And that's what we're here to do on 11 Personnel. We're not here to be lawyers. I felt bad, like, that normally I would have been working on Tuesday night. I felt bad that you had to carry that.
I think it was better that I had it. I think it was just better for everyone that Adam was on that night. I will say this: we are going to cover it because it's important. It needs to be covered. It's like going to determine the future of college sports, and it's going to directly impact Kentucky football, Kentucky basketball this year, no matter what happens. So we are going to cover it. We're going to continue to cover it. We're going to break it all down. KS Plus is a place to be for all of that because we are going to cover the games, but that is important too. So we'll keep covering it. But now we don't have to talk about that right now.
Yeah,
you're caught up to speed. If you're not, KentuckySportsRadio.com. Again, get the KS Board. We're breaking it down in depth, and there's going to be more to come, but we need more clarity on that right now. We don't have the language yet with SEC, so it's hard to say one way or another. But we don't know what Greg Sankey's going to do with this transfer rule. And so that is my 20-second update on the latest policy. So now we can get into who's going to win games and who's not this college football season.
Because that's what we're here for, right? We're here to look at schedules and look at, before we jump into the actual win total bets, we've been doing this for a while, and I gotta say, it's never been more challenging to do this because initially, like, there's a method to the madness. You can explain yours, but like, it was so much easier, Luckett, when you knew divisions and teams and schedules because there was you sort of would, like, I would almost like handicap divisions within each other, and then you kind of just go from there, right? Like, I got a cakewalk through the Big Ten West this year. Like, that's 8 wins. There was a sort of methodology to it. The way that these super conference schedules are formed now, it is so much more time consuming. I know a lot of people will just they have their own power rankings, and that's how they judge them. Like, their leans one way or another. I don't do that. I do it a little bit differently. But it did suck going through some of these and being like, man, I kind of like this, but it's like, oh, hell, they play them this year? The unbalanced schedules, the portal, it's made it much more challenging to handicap preseason. I heard an interview recently with Greg McElroy where he was quick to just almost like kind of look in the mirror and be like, we might be idiots right now because remember how we talked about Penn State, Clemson, and LSU last year, and they sucked farts. Like, the preseason has become more challenging than ever before, Luckett, But you know what? It's not going to slow us down. It's not going to stop us. We're still going to be pounding that pavement. And I know you've been scouring schedules. You're locked in. You're ready to rip. You're ready to roar.
Okay, first things like you're the model of college football and just how you can turn over rosters and how they turn over so fast. It has added like a unpredictable. It's thrown like a chaos agent variable into all of this, right? So that's first of all, and then the schedules, how different they are. It's like schedules are really important here, Nick, and we're going to get into it with a couple of mine at least. Like the schedule plays a huge role in why I come to the decision to play a total or not. So that, and then just the familiarity of it, right? You knew like, all right, this team matches up well with this team. This coach owns this coach, yada, yada, yada. And you knew like, okay, they have this coming back. This, you have better, safer bet, where now it's just a lot more difficult. Like for me, I used to, like in February, I used to write through the schedules and have all right, these are the 15 or so I like, and then narrow down my focus. I don't do that now because you just don't know. I don't know much about the roster. And then we don't, like, I used to watch spring games, and like spring games would be baked in my process. There's no spring games anymore. So I can't do that. And so really I wait until I used to go through most of the group of 5 conferences. I don't do any of those now because I just have to spend more time like digging in on these for the power conferences team. So that's different. My how I do it, I pick winners and losers for each game, and then I go through, and then I find very simply, I'll be like, okay, who is +1 or who is +1.5? Should probably play them. Like I've got a game cushion here, so it's not very complicated. Did you pull your record from last year on how you did?
I am of the belief that if I kept stats of my predictions, I wouldn't like what I saw. So we're forward thinking. And honestly, I think I had a couple bad beats late. I think last year was not a great performance, but you're some might say when you're hot you squat, and you might be doing a lot of squats. It's a leg day at the Luckett House.
Yeah, 5-5 last year, not a great one. The Oklahoma under was a big miss. Oklahoma State over was a big miss. But we did cash some late, like Rutgers under, I believe, under 5.5, went under late. SMU under 8.5. Remember, they got upset last week. I think it was Cal.
Yeah, so that was brutal.
End up 5-5, but that was the worst record. That was the first time I haven't had a winning record since doing this. This will be my 7th year, Nick, publishing win totals. We're 41-18-1, 10 per year. Pretty good. Through 60 games, 41-18-1, 695 winning percentage here. We'll give out 5 each here, and then I'll at KSR Plus tonight, right after this episode ends, shortly after it ends, we'll have my 10 season win total picks, and also the ones that just missed the cut. And I'll have them all, the 10 I've picked, written up and explaining why. And we'll do 5 of them here, and then there'll be 5 more. Luckett's Locks will be returning this year. Best bets each week. Or best picks each week, and so those will be returning, but those have been more up and down throughout the years. This one has been my better ROI, I would say, just for my personal, obviously, and I want to get out, gamble responsibly. Don't
be smart.
Don't overshoot your bankroll. Just use these as maybe help your handicapping process. These are what I like. And I've gone through the schedules if you don't want to do that. And so we've had a nice little track record here, and we're hopefully keep the good times rolling. But to your point, yes, I used to feel really confident about this exercise. I don't feel as confident anymore, but the unpredictability of the sport, I think, makes it more fun for us from a week to week basis. And I think, if you're looking at like long shots to make the playoff, like, I think you gotta look at some SEC and Big Ten schools off the radar, because there's a path for all these schools to make it into the dance now. Like A&M last year, I think was one, right? Obviously Indiana and what they've done, but I think there's other Tennessee 2 years ago made it. So like you can find some value that way, and so anything's on the table, and anyone could get to 10-2 in this format if the pieces come together and the schedule lines for you.
Well, let's have at it. Let's open up the old schedule playbook, and let's feast and 5 picks apiece here on 11 Personnel's season win total show, presented by Monticello Bank. Since 1895, Monticello Bank, it's where people matter. Proud presenting sponsors of 11 Personnel, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Luckett, you don't go through the G5 schedules, but you know who does?
I know you do. I know you've always got one obscure one for us, so are you going to start out with that?
I'm going to start with the obscure one because here's the thing, Luckett. We have a situation here where there is a team who went 7-5 in the FCS level last year and decided they're going to spend $18 million to join the MAC. And it's the Sacramento State Hornets. Okay, so not only did they decide, all right, we were a 7-5 team, let's pay $18 million to go to the MAC that is across the country. We're also going to schedule, I don't know, the best perennial power from the FCS that's also moving up in North Dakota State. They're coming to town. Fresno, they are one of the top teams in the new Mountain West Conference or Pac-12. I don't know. It's hard for me. I get it's basically the same thing. I get them mixed up. But you know who else is pretty damn good? Hawaii. So not only are they playing good non-conference games, not only are they traveling east 4 times to play MAC schools, they're also traveling west from Sacramento State. 6 hours, hopping on a plane and going to Hawaii for the season finale. They're doing this while, like, yes, they won 7 games last year. Like, that was solid. But they got like a brand new program. Brendan Marion, who was their sort of offensive guru, he's now Coach Prime's offensive coordinator.
Right.
Like, it's just, this has...
Jane Rashada was their quarterback last year, and he's the backup Mississippi State now.
Like, we are just, this is going to be chaos for Sacramento State. So let's not try to overthink this too much. Let's just try to fade them. Yes, they get the Delta Devils from Mississippi Valley State, but like, who's to say they can't lose to an FCS team, right? Like, the one part that I will be sweating a little bit, if you look at the predicted order of the MAC, it's a lot of those schools are on that schedule. Kent State, Ball State, UMass. Like, they aren't the best MAC teams, so they get a little fortunate in that regard. They don't play Western Michigan, but I love me some action. We're going to get some Sacramento State action this year. I'm going to be fading against them. Hornets under 4.5 wins in their first year in the MAC.
Yeah, and random, like the MAC game week 1, you don't see that very often. Is Adam Luckett going to watch? Is Adam Luckett going to watch Sac State at Eastern Michigan on ESPN Plus second screen? It's a rhetorical question. Yeah, just a fascinating schedule. UMass is in the MAC, second year in the MAC. They were awful last year, but fascinating. New coach, right? Just tough. I knew you were going to have. I thought you might do Northern Illinois because they're in the Mountain West now. Thought you might do them, but yes, to your point, there is a Pac-12 now. Boise State's in the Pac-12. Yes. Colorado State's in the Pac-12. San Diego State, Oregon State, Washington State, Texas State, no longer in the Sun Belt. They are in the Pac-12 now. And there's a couple more I'm missing. But the Pac-12, the big thing to watch specifically in the playoff race, Nick, is does the Pac-12 unseat the American? Yeah. American lost all those coaches from last year. Does the Pac-12 unseat them as kind of the best group of 6 conference or whatever? And does one of them win the bid? Now UNLV is a sneaky one because they're in the Mountain West and they might run the table. Dan Mullen's boys.
See, and that's the other part that's confusing too, because the Pac-12 is a bunch of former Mountain West schools, but some of the Mountain West stayed in the Mountain West, so it can be hard to sort of get your bearings in that regard. But hey, it's going to be fun. Which, we talked about all the FCS stuff.
I'm fine with Pac-12. It's going to be better after dark games for us.
That's true, and we're going to get
matchups after
Brian
dark.
Kelly calling them, right?
Yeah, he's on CBS Sports. He's going to be on the random.
He's going to be so miserable.
Like
Dan Mullen had fun.
I would assume he's going to be. You know how they get like the noon Commanders and Chiefs games? Like we'll get the noon Army Air Force, Navy Air Force on like big CBS.
Yeah,
I'd assume Brian Kelly's going to be on those. It's going to be like, who is that voice changing accents while I'm watching this game? Oh, it's Brian Kelly. That's going to be the funny part. It's just like mid-October, randomly you're going to have CBS on. And you might not even have the sound on, and Brian Kelly pops up, and everyone's going to be like, oh, what's going on here?
All right, look, we started with the obscure. Let's get into the real meat and potatoes. Luckett, is this your best? Is this your favorite, or just the first up to bat?
I would say just one of the five. This one is keep it simple, stupid, I think, for everyone. LSU, over 8.5 wins here. Ever since Lane Kiffin's first year, Nick, the first year was a COVID year. Since his return to SEC, he has gone at least 8-4, but only once has he finished with less than 9 wins in the regular season. That was the 2022 team, who started 8-1, and then lost to Alabama in a big game, and then the bottom fell out on them. Just let's not overthink this, people. like good defensive coordinator, Lane Kiffin offense, good quarterback in Sam Leavitt. They've got absolutely Hall at wide receiver, Jordan Seaton at left tackle. They've got multiple good starters on the offensive line. Defense has pieces. They're going to be able to rush the passer. They got NFL cornerbacks, NFL safety. Unless injuries absolutely decimate them, like they're going to be a 9-3 or better football team, in my opinion. Like, just let's keep it simple here. I like LSU here over 8.5. I'm not saying they're going to win national championship, but I think people are being too cute saying this team is going to be like 7-5 or something. I'd be pretty surprised. All the pieces are here for them to win football games this fall.
Yeah, they have a high variance. There's no doubt about it because of the level of difficulty on the schedule, the emotions that are going to be in that Ole Miss game. Like it's going to be a charged atmosphere. And then, I mean, didn't they make A&M LSU the season-ending sort of rivalry week game for the longest time too? Like, so it
was for a time. They moved it off here because Texas is in the league now.
Yeah, but the thing that I like about this, Luckett, is that you kind of know in September, right? And the reason why I'm not getting all the way there with you on this one is just because it could be a little bit rough to start. To your point, though, the reason why they should have a higher floor is just that defense. Like I think they're going to be able to just grind out some freaking wins early on, and it won't really matter.
They probably have the most first-round picks of any team this year.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of it's on that defense too. Like they're loaded over there.
And they draw Arkansas, Mississippi State, and the Kentucky Wildcats, who are like predicted at the bottom. Like those are the bottom 3 teams consensus. So and then they have McNeese 4, Louisiana Tech 5. I'd be shocked, Nick, if they win at Clemson. At Auburn's a winnable road game. They get Texas and Alabama at home. I doubt they lose both of those. I bet they split them. And then we'll see at Tennessee is tricky, but yeah, I mean, like if they win that Ole Miss game, like to me, this thing is cashing. So yeah, it might come down to that. But I would be really surprised if they went 7-5. I could see 8-4, but I think 9-3 and 10-2 is more likely than 8-4.
I'm kind of there with you. I'm not going to walk up to the window, but that's the part of the SEC schedule that makes this more challenging this year as well. Just the 9th game aspect of it, right? You're adding another one. How are these teams going to handle it? I tend to think that it's going to bog some down. Some won't be ready for it. And one of those teams that's not going to be ready for it is the Missouri Tigers, who have really benefited from that 2-year, we're going to stick with 8 games. They had it made on Easy Street. Absolutely made.
You missed a golden opportunity to get in the playoff.
And now you're in a situation where Drink's got to hire a new offensive coordinator, gets Chip Lindsey, which, I don't know about all that. You got Austin Simmons at quarterback, who
knows?
I mean, he did kind of get Wally pipped, but at the same time, he couldn't be ready to rock and roll with Lane. Like, is Chip Lindsey going to unlock him?
It's the Miller Moss principle.
Yeah, exactly right. Like if Miller Moss couldn't get right with Lincoln Riley, Is Jeff Brom really going to fix him?
Yeah. Now how much of this was just unfortunate injury, and how much of it Trinidad was just a lot better? We don't know because he just hasn't played, Nick. Like
No.
we don't have the snaps, and he was so young when he came to college. Like we just don't know.
Well, and that took away some snaps from him too because he skipped 2 years of high school.
And then you look at Missouri's roster offensively. Like, where are the weapons? Like, does he have the weapons to?
Yeah.
Like Chip Kelly is the ultimate kind of high floor.
Lindsey.
Higher.
I mean,
Chip Lindsey. Chippers are getting confused with the chip.
A lot of chips.
The chip overload here. But like, do they have the weapons? I don't know. Defensively, they returned 2 starters. They've had a good run of like NFL talent in the front.
A lot.
That's gone now. Damon Wilson's playing at Miami, who was their best pass rusher. We got a lot of guys moved on to the NFL. I just regression seems like it's coming here.
Yep.
To Como, and then you look at the schedule, right? Like the A&M, Oklahoma, Georgia, Texas all show up. They're going to be in Ole Miss. They're going to be
they're at Ole Miss and at Georgia, and then A&M, Georgia Tech. That's 5 losses, like right there.
Right, so, right. And now they've lost 7 consecutive games against ranked opponents. So if that holds, they're 7-5 best case.
And then
just to start off, and then the road, like Arkansas and Mississippi State on the road, it's tricky. Like, are you going to sweep that?
And then you've got Florida and Kentucky coming into town. Those aren't.
Are you going to sweep that? Right.
And then a rivalry game at Kansas. I mean, I don't know what Kansas is going to be like this year. But you still got to go on the road in a rivalry game. So this feels like a 6-6 season at best. And I don't know if we mentioned it on air, but all those Mark Stoops stats that people would bring up about him not beating teams with a winning record, a lot of them apply to Eli Drinkwitz now. And I think that 3 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, man, Drink should have cashed out after that first year with Ahmad Hardy. He should have got out while the getting was good. He was kind of in the mix for some jobs the last couple of years, but it never really happened. And I think he's going to get in this sort of just sort of middle ground at Mizzou.
His whole situation last year was hard for me to get a read on because I couldn't really tell what the interest level was. I would have been interested by what Florida would have done if Summerall goes to Auburn.
Yeah, because that's when the one that felt like Drink was there. That was the one school that really liked him, but you didn't know how much of that was your break glass in case of emergency.
Right, because it felt like Penn State wasn't interested at all. And Michigan probably wasn't interested unless if Whittingham wasn't there, then maybe. But, like, he was down the list there.
Yeah.
So, like, there's some Stoop stuff with him.
Yeah.
It feels like he almost got stuck a little bit. And then, like, it hasn't been as bad, but offensively, they've kind of not – it's kind of been borderline. Maybe the mess is a strong word, but just kind of awkward. It's never fit right.
Yeah.
Offensively there.
I mean, they had the best running back in college football last year. Now we don't know what we're going to get with Ahmad Hardy. Like, maybe they can get to that. Like, is he back when they open SEC play? I don't know. And if he is, what's he like? Like, I don't know. So I'm fading Missouri under 6.5. That is my favorite play of this whole entire show. Luckett, can we take a trek to the Big Ten? Because I want to talk about this team that comes up a lot on our programs.
We're going to be in the Big Ten a lot this year's show, but can't help it.
You can't quit them. You can't quit them.
Okay, schedule. Schedule.
Luckett, when I knew that you were looking at Iowa, I was like, Roush, don't you dare look at Nebraska because we cannot keep doing this on 11 personnel. You got to stop it.
All right, we got the columns up here, Nick. I don't want you to look. Don't look at the first column. Just put your hand over it or something.
Okay, hand over it.
Are you looking at the second column?
At the Golden Gophers, Wisconsin. I mean, this is the Big Ten West. Ah!
It is. It literally is. Okay.
It's all the teams they dominated for a decade.
So here's what we know about Iowa, right? The defense is going to be top 10.
It's what they do.
Like Move on. Check box. Offensively with Tim Lester, Nick, they have raised the floor. Like it's no longer the drive for 225 or whatever it was with Brian Ferentz. Like they're not winning any offensive awards, but they have figured it out. That offensive line has settled now. They've got 2 NFL picks on the offensive line. They're still pumping out NFL tight ends, and they've got running backs. They've got they just went and got one of the best FCS running backs in the country. He's going to be kind of splitting time with Kamari Moulton. I believe his name's L.J. Phillips. They went and got Tony Diaz from the FCS, who Kentucky was in on at receiver. He's got a lot of
really high on Tony Diaz.
A lot of rave reviews. To me, it's just like they might have just got a guy who can win on go routes, and they're just down there like, what in the world is going on over here? This guy can win on a deep post? What are we doing? What is this magic? But schedule is huge here. Now, important part to me, Nick, Iowa State is going to be awful this year, most likely. Matt Campbell's gone. He took his whole team with him.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to be bad. And so, like, that gives them 3 wins, and then that's a brutal stretch. At Michigan, Ohio State at home, at Washington, a brutal stretch. But if they picked off one of those, which Ohio State's not happening, I don't think, but I think they could possibly pick off one of those 2 road games. If they did, this team is making the playoff.
Yeah.
Because this stretch in the back half, they own Minnesota. Like, Flex only beaten Iowa once, and that was when Iowa was at the bottom with what was the quarterback we loved that one year? The big guy. Bacon, Air Bacon or what was Bacon Hill.
Gosh, like didn't he have like a 40 number or something like that?
I don't think so. I think they switched it. I think you're thinking of
Deacon Hill.
Yes. And then Wisconsin, they've owned recently. Northwestern, they've owned recently. Purdue is bad. At Illinois is the one different one, but they're taking a step back this year. And then I don't even have to say the last one. You know what happens on Black Friday with Iowa and Nebraska? I just think, like, it's there. And Jeremy Hecklinski is at Iowa now. He was a quarterback transfer from Wake Forest. Wake Forest old offensive coordinator Warren Ruggiero is a QC there at Iowa now. Wake Forest was very good about finding like these low-level like quarterback recruits and developing into serviceable starters. I'm not saying he's going to set a bunch of records or whatnot, but like they're going to play competent offense, I feel like, for most of the year. They're going to be able to run the damn ball. And that's going to lead, I think, to some big point totals against defenses that maybe aren't up to snuff, like the level of Michigan, Ohio State potentially. So, like, this team, I think, could make a run at 10-2, and I think they're a sneaky candidate to make the playoff when you're looking at futures.
Sneaky. All right, look, my question for you that I must ask, how much of it was Tim Lester figuring out versus Mark Gronowski's ability to convert in the red zone? Because that is, when I hear people talk about Iowa, a lot of them will say Gronowski was the secret to that sauce that got them to hit overs last year. What say you?
I think it helped having the QB run, but they did it 2 years before with Lester, and they just gave it to the running back, and he rushed for the guy who's with the Steelers now. Name is escaping me.
I can't remember him either. And his brother like went to Kentucky or something, or his cousin. No, he was Alex Safari's neighbor. They're from Cincinnati. Gosh, why can't I think of his name? That's going to bug me.
Caleb Johnson.
There we go.
Yeah, he's from Hamilton, Ohio. Played against Kentucky in one of those bowl games as a freshman. But, yeah, I think they're just going to figure it out. This O-line can dominate. Nick, they run the wide zone. They're good at it. They're going to do it. They got tight ends that can block. They get tight ends that can help in the pass game. Like, they're going to against, like, again, when they get level up, they're in trouble. But against these Illinois, Purdue's, Nebraska, Northwesterns, Wisconsin's, Minnesota's, they're going to be able to run
down.
Yeah, and they're going to play defense. So they get to 21. We get to 21 points in all those games that I just named. They're going to win the football game.
Boom. Iowa unders back, except if you're playing win totals. Just a quick update on Deacon Hill. Forgot that he transferred to Wisconsin. Currently the quarterback at Utah Tech. Do you know where Utah Tech is?
I do not, but that guy was an electric factory. Like that was peak Iowa unders when he was
I mean,
at quarterback.
that was good stuff. St. George, Utah. Never heard of that place in my life. Forget that Utah Tech existed. Well, while we're in the Big Ten, let me get to a Big Ten pick of mine because you mentioned Iowa State. Do we really think last year's Iowa State team could win 10 games in the Big Ten? No. I mean,
They could, yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. I get where you're going here.
yeah, because, all right, I have the schedule on the screen right now. You're seeing it, and you're saying, where are all the good teams? USC and at Michigan are the two
Poor
big
James
ones.
Franklin.
They also go to
Poor
Washington.
James Franklin. This would have been such a bounce. Like, he goes 11-1 against this.
Yeah, no, without a doubt in my mind. But James Franklin isn't the coach anymore. It's the new guy, Matt Campbell. They took, 50 days to hire a coach. That was an unusual process. And I don't know. Look, I've always just been kind of sick of for Matt Campbell. It drives me absolutely nuts because as much of the butt kissing that we got from Matt Campbell over the years from national media about, can you believe he's doing this at Iowa State? I also watched him lose at Ohio. At Ohio. He lost that game. Look here's another fun Matt Campbell stat I've got for you. He has lost as an outright favorite 17 times in his last 5 years. At least 3 losses straight up as an outright favorite in every season over the last 5 years. I've watched Penn State beat all the teams you should. And you're going to tell me that Matt Campbell is going to come in here and win all the games he should and be a 10-2 coach in year one with an Iowa State roster? You can't convince me of that. I get it. I know, I understand why people watch out. They got this schedule. They might just do it. They're not going to leave a 10-2 Penn State team out of the playoff. They lost a 10-2 Vanderbilt team out of the playoff last year too. So don't get me started on any of those arguments. I'm not falling for it. Matt Campbell is going to lose games he shouldn't. It's going to be the opposite of the Franklin effect. Hell, they might go to Michigan and knock them off. They might beat USC in a whiteout. I'm assuming that's their whiteout game. But you know what?
Yeah, it is. They just announced that tonight.
They can lose to Greg Schiano at home and just get chopped away, right? I am not going to just bank that this schedule is guaranteeing them 10 wins. I can't do it. Give me Penn State under 9.5 wins in Matt Campbell's first year.
What you're hearing, folks, is Nick Roush week 2 is going to be on Casey Keeler and the Fighting Temple Owls, catching a bunch of points. That's what I just heard right there. Yeah, to me, Nick, there's 3 games that stand out from your angle. Really 2. Really, I'll say 2. It's the at Northwestern, first game in New Ryan Field on a Friday night in October. And then it's at Washington. They have to lose one of those games.
And I think they could easily lose the Washington game. Easily.
Yeah, I think, going West Coast, and I also think Friday night on the road. That place is going to be a zoo for Northwestern. Those are 2 big ones. And then the USC one at home is probably the next big one. That's an interesting game because Danton Lynn left USC he's a new defensive coordinator for Campbell at Penn State. So that's an interesting angle in that game. See,
and that USC, just generally speaking, they're a team that I kind of want to buy stock in.
But they're so bad. We could pull the numbers, but they are so bad going to these East Coast games.
Exactly. But they also might be a team that just can fart out 30 points without batting an eye this year. They might be that good offensively in a conference that is offensively challenged. So, but yes, that's essentially what I'm betting on. And here's the other thing. I know that it's a home game. Wisconsin is a team that I refuse to believe that they are as bad as they have shown in recent years because Luke Fickell, Kentucky fans, Mark Pope's had some bad point guard luck. I'd like to introduce you to Luke Fickell's quarterback luck even going back to before Fickell with Graham Mertz, it feels like they've had their starting quarterback get injured in September for 5 straight seasons. They just cannot just keep that guy healthy. And so, I think if you just do the bare minimum, then I just refuse to believe that Fickell is as bad as what his record has shown through the first few years in Madison. I ultimately think he's going to get it right and get him to a bowl game.
I have a fickle take. I think he was probably a coaching staff merchant. Mike Denbrock and Marcus Freeman were with
his
him.
Assistants. Yeah,
I mean, Denbrock might be the best offensive coordinator in college football, and Marcus Freeman is like a no doubt top 5 coach now. So and they, on top of all that, they caught lightning in a bottle with just the guys that came through and they evaluated and recruited in Cincinnati that time. I mean, Brian Cook, Kobe Bryant, Sauce Gardner. All of these guys are playing in starters in the NFL. Yeah. And they were just there, and they just developed them all. And then they had them on offense and defense too. I didn't say defense, but offense. I just wonder if they just had lightning in a bottle, and he had a huge, massive talent advantage. Now he doesn't have it. The injury, and they haven't funded the program. But yeah. But I trust Matt Campbell to be more Big Ten football than Luke Fickell at this point, just from
that's fair enough.
The game. But the USC stat, Nick, we got to throw out there because it's one of my favorite stats. You're going to hear about it. Under Lincoln Riley, USC is 10-10 straight up and 5-14-1 against the spread on the road. They were 0-4-1 last year. ATS. USC is 1-10 against ATS in last 11 as a road favorite. 0-3 last year.
It's also one of those, I think if you make it just games where they cross the Rocky Mountains too, so excluding the road games against the former Pac-10 teams, those records are even worse, ATS. They just cannot function when they have to travel. I would like to hear Stinkin' Riley have a Mick Cronin-esque rant about the travel because I'm sure they're on the same page. In that regard. Great stats. We got some more stats to give to you. If you like what you've seen so far, we got plenty more to come, but you're probably like, all right, where can I get in on some of this action? Get in on the action with our friends at Polymarket. Skip the VIG. Go with the prediction market over at Polymarket. Download the Polymarket app. It's really easy to use. It's got a clean interface. And all these win totals that you got, there's a prediction market for that. You can trade, cash out whenever you want. You don't have to wait till the season's over to cash out on these futures. This is why the prediction market, it's the ideal way to use with these win totals. They got them all on Polymarket. Just download that app, use that code ON3 when you sign up. Deposit 10, you're going to get $20 over at Polymarket. They got everything on there. We like to take a closer look at the win totals, but there's everything on Polymarket. So just download that app. Do me a favor. Download that app. Use that code ON3, and Polymarket's going to give you a $20 bonus right now once you deposit $10. Trading is not available in all jurisdictions. You got to check your local regulations before trading. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Trading is risky. 100% loss can occur. 18 plus only. Polymarket US and Polymarket is the CFTC regulated exchange and clearing organization. The fine print at the bottom, I have a hard time reading it.
Need the cheaters on.
Polymarket.com/FOS for more information. Download the Polymarket app.
Polymarket gives you some more variety too, Nick, because you can just, they're 7.5, 8.5, 9.5. You can kind of shop around. So
exactly. And
very
see
cool. Like with your trades, you can do a lot of different things. You get some different market value, I would say. So yeah, there's definitely
the cashing out part is the part that I would really like to, because the percentages will change. So how you trade, admittedly, we're like you. We're learning as we go along. Learn along with us all season by downloading that Polymarket app today. All right, Luckett. Is it my turn or is it your turn? I think it's your turn.
It is my turn because you did Penn State last. I'm on my third pick. A team that showed up on that Penn State schedule, Nick, is the Northwestern Wildcats.
Hooah.
Under 5.5 for me here. Look at the schedule. Just look at the schedule. At Indiana, Penn State at home, at Oregon, Iowa at home, at Ohio State.
I mean, they might
You know,
just be shell shocked before they even play a home game. You know.
Colorado at their kind of makeshift stadium early in the year. I just think the schedule is brutal. Nick, I kind of like some of the pieces on this roster, but this schedule is just brutal.
Not going to buy Chip Kelly and Aiden Childs?
I'm not buying Chip Kelly and Aiden Childs. They do have a good running back, a good receiver. Should have a solid, salty defense. But the schedule is just too brutal. I mean, at Indiana, at Oregon, at Ohio State. I mean, good Lord. And then that's Penn State and Iowa at home. And that's before you even get, at Minnesota, at Michigan State, Illinois at home. It's just
tough sledding.
It's just rough. That's rough sledding. I don't see how they could. I mean, if they get that six, I just think 5-7, 4-8 are more likely than 6-6. Let's just put it that way. And this is a big schedule lean here because I just think that it's a brutal. I mean, that Colorado game is no gimme early in the year. Colorado's going to out-athlete them.
Yeah.
So if Northwestern cannot get them in the mud, and another thing, Nick, bye week 2, 11 consecutive games.
I mean,
to end the season,
their goose is going to be cooked.
It's just they got a tough. Yeah, right. By the time they get to at Minnesota, Illinois to end the year, are they just out of gas?
Yeah. There's not going to be any left in the tank. I like this one, Luckett. This might be one I have to add to my card. I don't know if I like your next one. We're just going to stay in the Big Ten for simplicity's sake. Luckett, is this another schedule, or do you just hate Fitz as the coaching hire, as Jay Bat's coaching hire? Because this is one that I did sort of take a look at, a little gander.
I don't hate. I'm buying. Literally.
Over.
4.5.
Interesting. At Notre Dame in week 3?
If you were said a human being, show me a picture of a Big Ten human being.
It's Fitzgerald.
Pat Fitzgerald is one of the first ones to come up in your search. Okay.
Oh, all the way back to the uniform back in '95 with that big old cowboy collar.
He is the Big
He's as Big Ten as it gets.
Okay. Now, what do I know about Pat Fitzgerald? They're not going to be sexy on offense. They're probably going to play good defense. Joe Rossi's a good defensive coordinator. They're going to be sound. They're going to be tough, and they're going to play probably in a lot of close games. Okay, to start us out, Nick, Toledo and Eastern Michigan, those are 2 teams they should handle. Toledo's totally rebuilding. Eastern Michigan is not. They play a version of Pat Fitzgerald football in the MAC. So,
yeah.
Start out with 2 wins there. Let's start out there. At Notre Dame, at Michigan, Oregon at home. Throw them out.
Mm-hmm.
But this September to October stretch, I really like for Michigan State. Nebraska at Wisconsin, Illinois, Northwestern at UCLA. I don't know about you, Nick, but that sounds like a lot of one-possession games to me.
So you're banking on them to win 3 of those 5.
And then Rutgers at the end, I would throw in that mix. Yes. I think this team can get to a bowl game. And I think, this team, you could look up and they win maybe 3 or 4 in that stretch going to UCLA where they're playing for a bowl game on October 24th.
Man, just really throwing Burt Bielema to the wayside, just like that.
At home, Illinois resetting. I don't think they're going to win both of those games, but I think they could win. They could win 2, or they could split them for sure.
I think.
You think Pat Fitzgerald's going to be excited on October 17th? You think that's going to be a scene? You think somebody's going to be motivated in that Michigan State locker room to win that football game?
More motivated than Mark Stoops. The part that really got me like it is when I looked up Michigan State's quarterback's name, and when I saw Alisio Milojevic, I was like, that guy can't win 5 games.
This is a deep cut, but he was solid.
I know, but that's not the name of a Big Ten quarterback. I'm sorry, Alisio is too much of a pretty boy to play for Pat Fitzgerald. So
another thing I want to say, I thought they did a good job in the portal, Nick. I thought offensive line sneakily, it's not going to be great, but I think they got a chance to be solid. And then Cam Edwards was at UConn. I talked about UConn last week.
That was
Gordon Stamis, offensive coordinator. I think He's at TCU now. I'm very interested in how that goes. He was awesome last year. His running back was Cam Edwards, who's at Michigan State now. Was awesome for them last year. I think he's going to be a good running back. I think they're going to be able to run the football, and then I think they're going to play defense, and the quarterback is not going to hurt them. I think he can help them in some spots. So there's some games on here where it could get ugly for them, right? They feel like the team that makes a bowl game but just gets absolutely blasted 3 to 4 times, right? You know how but I think it's just how the schedule works out. Those spots, I trust Fitzgerald. I think they're going to be able to pick off some wins here.
I don't mean to be a hater with some of mine, but I would like to go to a hater pick. And if you're sensing a theme here, I don't like teams that have to travel across the country. It's just the numbers bear out. And I am bearing down and I'm fading Tosh Lupoi in year one, which that number of 6.5 is pretty high. And here's the thing. If I told Average Joe, ask them, tell me something about the Cal Golden Bears, they would tell you Jaron Kara, Sungapalatelli, JKS. Okay, look it. Do you know who is going to be calling plays for JKS this year?
I looked this up because I thought this was a very interesting hire when Lupoi made it.
It's a first-time – you have a first-time head coach with a first-time play caller, Jordan Somerville. So they worked together at Oregon. So one of the guys that Stein, didn't take with him. He was an analyst previously. He spent the last 2 or 3 years as an assistant.
3 years with the Bucks. He worked with Dave Canales 1 year, worked with Liam Cohen 1 year.
Right. So you think
quarterback coach.
Okay, maybe that works, but I don't know, the difference between Lupoi and Stein is that is this guy going to coach him up in year one and going to be some sort of this feels like more of a program, we need more stability long term in this conference sort of hire. I don't think it's happening right away with the 30-year-old first-time play caller, who I think they only have 6 guys returning who started on both sides of the ball. They start the year by playing in. I mean, this is a rivalry game for all intents and purposes, right? That's a huge game, and then you have to fly all across the country to Syracuse in week 2. And then by week 4 you play Clemson, who
Friday night at home.
So that could be good, but I like in these games where you can know early in the year if you feel good about it. Week 5, they're at UNLV, and that is a game where, Dan Mullen just might run them out of town as well. So, I think I know by the first half of that schedule, they got Virginia Tech too. Virginia Tech should be much improved under James Franklin. I just think there's too many roadblocks for them to be a 7-win team in year one.
Yeah, you didn't even mention this funky 3-game road stretch at SMU, at NC State consecutive weeks, at Virginia.
Yeah, that's funky. You got the rivalry game with Stanford.
That's a lot of travel.
You never know what's going to happen there. And then Pitt is just an annoying-ass ACC team. I know you got that game at home, but, there's just – I feel like I have a lot of outs here, where, they'll probably win one of these funky, weird games, but I also can see them getting ran out of town. And as much as I love JKS –
they have a lot of variance this season. I could see 4-8 or 8-4.
They also too let's be real. I'm gonna show my my biases. I lost a lot of money betting on Cal last year, just in games.
They were just up and down, man.
I know they pissed me off, man. It was usually we're it's that ACC Friday night game. We're on the road watching it somewhere, and I'm just like, what are you doing? How is this happening? Man, the ACC Friday nights, those are some of my favorite football. The Friday, I know that it's more high school football, but Friday night games have become my favorite because we're either working.
They are.
I'm either working at home and my wife has already passed out after a long week of school, and I'm getting posts ready for Saturday morning, or we're on the road at some bar and we're watching just chaos unfold. Was that
Virginia, Florida State? Remember that one?
Was that
when we were in South Carolina?
So the Florida State one, that was the field rush. What was the one with the Hail Mary that was that Florida State as well? Well, because it was you couldn't tell if it caught it or not.
Oh, that was Virginia Tech, Miami 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. We were
They
down
were-
at Ole Miss.
Was that where we were? Okay, yeah. I
Yeah,
couldn't remember
yeah.
where that one was. Yeah. You know, they play the hits in that league. No doubt about it.
Oh,
And
man.
especially with Cal, we get the Pac-12 After Dark Chaos Agent kicked in.
Yeah.
So
So
like-
it's good to have. Like I've got Maction and I've got After Dark. So like this is how I stay engaged with those. Is taking under 6.5 for Cal.
I'm already like I have it like written down. Get ready, just get stuff done so you can watch Dabo in Berkeley. Like
That's going to be great.
on Friday night. To me, Nick, I thought they did a really good job in the portal. Everyone knows JKS stud, future NFL quarterback, but like Ian Strong was a good receiver at Rutgers last year. Chase Hendricks was awesome in the MAC at Ohio last year. A really good slot receiver who I think will be a draft pick. So I like some of the stuff they did in the portal, and then they've got some guys on defense that I think can play a little bit that Lupoy picked up. The big thing is like Somerville. Like he is the wild card. Like if he's just a wonderkin, like they could ignite on offense, I think, and be a real handful in this league. But also like, what if he's not? What if it doesn't work? Right? But I don't think I think JKS raises the floor in a pretty big way. And quietly, Cal back-to-back quarterbacks, Mendoza, JKS is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Because I would say JKS is trending to be a top 10 pick as of now. Maybe in who knows how he goes. But they're going to be a fascinating team. They got a lot of fascinating games here, like a lot of random, like kind of fascinating games. Like they host Dabo and James Franklin twice in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's fascinating. They got that 3-game stretch on the road, which is tough. And then they've got that random at Syracuse. But then they've also got UCLA in a battle of first-year head coaches who are going to be fighting over probably recruits a lot. And so that game could have some moment.
Yeah.
It could give one program a momentum boost if they win on the recruiting trail. So they're a fascinating team this year. Because they could beat anyone. I think they could literally beat anyone in this league, but they could also probably lose to anyone. Right?
That's what makes them so much fun, and really, that's the kind of chaos league that we're in. Luckett, let's turn our attention to the Big 12. Your pick, the Kansas Jayhawks. Are you saying rock chalk, or is the post Jalen Daniels era going to be a disaster?
I don't think Tyron Stokes is going to see many home football wins this year. That's my prediction. Under 5.5 for Rock Chalk. Jayhawk. Okay. Nick, they go to London week 3. Face Arizona State, Cutter Boley, Kamar Anderson. Noon, local Eastern time kickoff.
Why are we doing international college football games? Like, what is? I understand week 0. You want to do something. You want to week 3. What a week 3 conference game? Not a like this is like opening the NFL season with a divisional game. You can't play a conference game overseas. I mean, that is what are we doing here? I don't understand it.
I don't really want to have a discourse about this right now. All I want to point out is that takes a home game away from Kansas, and they only have 3 Big 12 home games this season.
That's crazy.
So Missouri, I think they're going to be dog week 2. Like, I think that's going to be a tough game for them. We've seen these teams go to London, Nick, and their seasons kind of not go to playing.
Yeah, basically, you could hedge this win total bet with a money line bet in that game. Look at like that. If you were going to be chicken, you could hedge, but you won't because that really is like if they just lose to Cutter Boley and Kamari Anderson, their season's over with. That's what it's told us in recent years.
This program never beats Kansas State.
Nope.
At Utah's a tough game. And then I don't know if they can keep up with this Oklahoma State offense that's going to throw the ball over the football field. And I think at TCU,
same thing with Baylor. Baylor might throw it all over.
Kansas on paper has probably the worst power conference quarterback situation. And so I just 4-8 seems more likely than 6-6.
I heard Stanford Steve sprinkle. He gave out a future long shot, West Virginia, in the Big 12 championship game. Like that, this is not a cupcake Big 12 schedule either.
West Virginia will be better. I think a lot of it has to come together. They feel like a spicy 6-6 team.
They got the guy from Jacksonville State though that led the nation in rushing though, and if Rich Rod's got a running back,
Cam Cook, and then Michael Hawkins, who was the Oklahoma quarterback.
Yeah, he can run around.
That kind of dual threat. He feels like a good fit for that offense. His roster building's been so weird to me because they're taking a bunch. They took a bunch of JUCO guys. They've had 50, 60 new players 2 years in a row. Like he's totally flipped the roster twice now. So I don't have a great feel for just what he's doing roster wise, but I do think they will be improved. They'll be a better football team, and that'll be a spot. Like again, I think they'll be a tough out, specifically at home. Is kind of my prediction in Morgantown. So I think that's a tough game too for Kansas. Throwing that in there.
Look, is that Halloween game? Is this a pick that 11 personnel is in unison on?
I think if you all come over for trick or treating this year, maybe check out some football and chili. That'll be on one of the second screens. I guarantee you.
So will this be in the column? Is TCU over 6.5 in the Luck It's Locks column? Because this is a pick that I like a lot. I feel like it makes a lot of sense. Are you with me on this one, Luckett?
Yes, it'll be in the under consideration. The only reason this one didn't make the 10 is because I try to pick ones where
a little more certainty, sort of.
Well, you have better where the readers can maybe get some better
Juice.
Payouts. Yeah, I would say like this is the consensus number TCU 6.5. I like it 7.5. So if you wanted to play that, I mean, I think this team's got a chance to win double-digit games. So yeah, I like this one a lot.
Here's the thing with TCU is people probably don't realize that they've just been an 8-4 team under Sonny Dykes since their title. It was national championship game appearance, and then we fall off planet Earth. But they've been one of the more steady teams since 8-4, win their bowl games. So back-to-back 9-win seasons. They've lost Josh Hoover, but this guy knows how to coach quarterbacks. He went and got Jaden Craig. Jaden Craig was in Pete Nakos's these are underrated transfers you need to know column. This guy was a 2-year starter at Harvard and is their all-time leading passing yards record guy in just 2 years as a starter. Yeah,
he's going to get drafted.
48 touchdowns, 10 picks. He's going into this league. That just tells me this guy is going to light it up. And I like the runway they have early on in the season to build up some momentum because there is the one side of this where I think they could be the team that's playing Texas Tech in that Big 12 title game if their schedule wasn't they're playing all of the good teams, right? That's the one part that sucks about this. I think it's why the number is lower and you kind of get it all over the place. But they do at least get BYU and Utah at home. So if you could steal one of that, you're feeling great. But you really don't even need to if you're playing this at 6.5. You just got to take care of business at Baylor, outshoot DJ Lagway and Spavital. And one other thing too, Luckett, that I think is just noteworthy about this TCU team is I want to say they only got a dozen transfers. So
yes, they're not big in the portal.
So that probably means that Sonny Dykes feels pretty good about his team, right? Putting your two fingers up in the air. So that's why I'm.
Did you hear about the locker room fight?
No, is this going to make me change my mind?
There was a Louisiana Tech transfer who's starting at safety for them. Basically got in a fight with a receiver, I think. And the receiver's charging, or the safety, he's getting charged with assault. And he got immediately kicked off the team.
Hey, well, this is Sonny Dykes standing on business.
So
I mean
that I don't know what's going on there, but that's at least something, right? Something's going on there.
That is something because you would think if your locker room fights happen, getting charged with assault means that he probably jumped him, or you know what I mean. It was probably
the
something.
Safety was Jacob Fields, who was an All-CUSA Louisiana Tech guy. He transferred in, was one of the few transfers, and then the receiver. I cannot. I don't want to say the name wrong, so I'm not going to say who it was, but I can't remember who the receiver was. But I'm pretty sure it was a receiver.
Well, I'm going to take Texas Tech, or sorry, not Texas Tech, TCU.
I like it.
Get over 6.5.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
I tell you right now, they're beating BYU on October 3rd.
Okay.
When's their first loss?
No, November 21st. I mean, they could be 10-0.
Well, I think you win that game, you could get to 11-0.
Yeah.
If like I've talked about Gordon Samus, their offense coordinator, I think he's awesome. They've got an NFL quarterback. They're well coached, I think, Nick. I think Sonny Dykes is a good coach. I think Andy Avalosa is a good defensive coordinator. You know, there's some like UCF, Baylor, Arizona. If you made me pick, I'd say they probably lose one of those. But if they beat BYU, I think they could be legitimately 8-1 going in that Utah game at home. So, like, I think they're live to make the Big 12 championship and be a true playoff contender.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Look, my question for you now is significantly different. But what say you, right? You got to pick one of these teams in either the Big 12 or the ACC to lose. There's two huge favorites, Texas Tech or Miami. Which team is more likely to duff it up?
I'd say the Hurricanes.
Just because
Texas
that's
Tech,
what they do.
They got a harder schedule, in my opinion. Texas Tech's schedule is,
Nothing.
I mean, yeah. Like, now they don't have, like, I think Texas Tech has a lower ceiling than Miami, but we've seen Miami do it before, and I think Miami's got some legitimate, I would say, challenges on the schedule. And they've got teams where they're going to play that are pretty close talent-wise, where Texas Tech doesn't.
Yeah, it's that big of a drop off. They might have Thomas Castellanos at quarterback. I don't,
Does it matter who they have? I mean, like, honestly, like, how bad do they have to be at quarterback for that to matter? Like, you don't have it pulled up. I can just read it here. I got handy Phil Steele right next to me. Abilene Christian at Oregon State, Houston at home, Sam Houston State, at Colorado, Arizona State, at Cincinnati, Arizona, West Virginia, at Oklahoma State might be the one. At Baylor, TCU. I think TCU will give them a game on Thanksgiving. But, I mean, I'd be pretty surprised, Nick, if they weren't 10-0 or 9-0 going to Stillwater on November 14th. It's just that they're going to be like a 2-touchdown favorite at least, I think, in all of those games. Just reading it crazy right now.
Pretty crazy. Oh man, just to go back to Miami, I think it's really tough to try to lock in on the Heisman this early, but I did think that Mensa at 11-1 was kind of tasty.
Yeah.
And Jaden Maiava at 25-1, where you could see him having a sort of Jaden Daniels like campaign where maybe the other guys, like, if not everything, because like ultimately Arch having a pretty damn good year and Texas winning the SEC, that just tees that thing up for him to win it. That's why he's the second choice there. CJ Carr, Notre Dame could beat Miami and then just go undefeated. And
that's smart because I think they do go undefeated, and if they have a top 5 quarterback,
like
that guy's winning the Heisman.
Which that's why, like that's why it's hard. It's not as fun to bet to like find some like juicy ones, but like the Maiava at 25-1, that's like ooh. Or in Mensa's case, like it could be the shoes on the other foot where he has a big game and they beat Notre Dame, right? Like that that game is going to be enormous up in South Bend. And Mensa, he had, I think, the highest drop rate of any power conference quarterback a year ago. So, like, he might just light it up now that he's got some actual real weapons. So, those are two that are, if you don't want chalk, I think you should take a closer look at.
Yeah, I think, like, you start getting into the scouting community, there's a lot of, like, non-believers in Mensa. Arm strength, some of the YOLO decision making, I think pops up, but I do want to see him with better players. Like, what does he look like with better players? And so, like, Cooper Barkate came with him from Duke, but then you add Malachi Toney to the mix. They've got depth at receiver too. South Carolina's best receiver last year, Nick, was Vandrevius Jacobs. He's like their wide receiver 4 at Miami. So like he's going to have some weapons at his disposal here this year.
Yeah.
So I think the one thing I would worry about him is just like,
Does Tony get more shine?
Right.
Yeah.
and Fletcher like how
So-
does Fletcher become like a 1,400-yard rusher this year, and does he take away some yards and points for them? But
Yeah.
that November 7th game against Notre Dame, you could definitely see undefeated, Heisman 1, Heisman 2,
Yeah.
Mensa versus Carr.
Another question for you, with wide receivers, like it feels like you have to have a year before you can have the year that you're a legitimate conversation. Devontae Smith really didn't have it though, which is kind of odd. Like he was good, but not the way that we talk about Jeremiah.
This was a
Smith.
steady climb. Yeah.
Yeah, but like Jeremiah Smith is the best player in college football. Like just I think full stop. But I still don't know if there's a world where he actually wins the Heisman. Like I don't.
I think their play style comes into this too.
Yeah, because they're so slow,
Run the ball, but also they know like Ohio State's playing for 16.
Yeah,
So they're going to call off the dogs
right.
more often than other teams.
Correct.
So that's how
Okay.
it's just hard for these non QB guys to win it now, specifically with how the offenses have slowed down.
Yeah.
Like it's just going to be hard for these guys to win it now. I think like to me, I always am interested in young quarterbacks who haven't like busted onto the scene yet. So like Keelan Russell fits the bill this year, but I don't know if if the pieces
Yeah.
are in place around him.
Right.
Like I think Levitt's interesting at LSU because we know that offense. So yeah, that's where and like one thing is interesting. Like Trinidad's interesting, Nick, because what happens if he just has to carry the team?
Oh, and he just is going
And they
bananas.
get the 10 win.
Yeah.
It's just every week. It's like the Jaden Daniels thing. It's just every week. Oh, here he goes. Like, Greg Jennings mode engaged again. Trinidad Chambliss, right? Like that's
he
one.
is
He's
15
interesting
to
me.
1 right now, and Levitt is also in that 25 to 1.
And like Bryce Underwood, as I would also put him in the Keelan Russell mode. Like, what
That's
if
true.
if they
If he
just
has,
unlock him running the football? Yeah.
Yeah, he's finally got a competent offensive coordinator structure around him.
And
Which-
and the coordinator Beck, who followed Whittingham from Utah, he's known as like really unlocking the QB run game and using that.
I
And,
mean,
like,
he did it with
Dampier was-
Dampier,
right?
was
was awesome last year. Like, what if they just do that with him and he just becomes what he,
yeah.
what everyone thought he was going to be coming out of high school?
You got any playoff tickets? Looking at closely.
Yeah, Iowa, TCU are two of the long shots I like. Tennessee is another long shot I like. I think on these, Nick, you have to go in every year and think, okay, there's going to be 4 Big Ten, 4 big SEC teams that make it. Just start there. All right, who is my, pick your big 3, but then your 4th is going to be one of those teams in the middle tier. And Iowa, I gave my reasons earlier, and then Tennessee. I
hate the Tennessee one, but
Tennessee,
it's so true.
Tennessee's got the schedule. They're going to be good on offense, and if they pick off one of those big games at home, Texas, LSU, Alabama. You win one of those at Neyland, they've got a path to 10-2, and that team with that schedule is getting in at 10-2, or even 9-3. I think Tennessee could sneak in at 9-3.
So I was talking to our friend Slutty Steve, and
anyone who knows who we're talking about just was laughing at that.
Yeah, because UTSA is a team he's on, and I love his logic.
Yeah, the quarterback, Owen McCown.
I love his logic on betting the Louisville over 8.5 win total, because lose to Ole Miss.
Their back they could get hot late. Yes, I've looked at this.
But there's probably a Brom clunker. So like going into the
Wake
last
Forest early.
Yeah. Like essentially you're in a situation where Kentucky can either win the game, or Kentucky can win the game and you lose your bet, but Kentucky wins the game, right? Like a lot of that over 8.5 is probably going to come down to the Governor's Cup when you look at Louisville.
Yeah, because I had Louisville. I have them pegged as an 8-4, 9-3 team.
Yeah. Like that number is right on the money. So this is if Kentucky loses, I'm going to win some money back here, sort of deal.
Right. Like the back half of Louisville's schedule after the bye, Nick, is Stanford at home, at Georgia Tech, at North Carolina, Pitt at home, at Kentucky. They've demolished Pitt in these late season games. The Bobby
Georgia
Angles,
Tech could be interesting with the way those teams are built, you know?
Yeah, I just think Georgia Tech might be sneaky bad, but Key is awesome as an underdog. Stanford, I mean, name your score probably at home. But yeah, the beginning of the season is so interesting for Louisville because if they go 1-2 out the gate, losses to Ole Miss, SMU, their season's over. Like they're not making the playoff unless they won out and won the ACC at that point. So that's interesting. You know, that the Wake Forest is extremely well coached, Jake Dickard, and then at NC State is kind of a tricky game early, and then they got Florida State because it's right before that big Florida State Friday night Louisville special on October 9th.
You know, it's a big Louisville game. It's got to be played on a weeknight.
Yeah, so they're an interesting team because, like, what happens if they are knocked out of contention early? But I think they've got star power. I think they'll be pretty good. Brom's a good coach, and I think they'll, you know, they've won 8 to 9 games every year under him, but I think they'll probably do something similar.
Yeah.
And the schedule is not, I don't think their schedule is easy. Like, I think they've got some, like, the schedule they had 23 was a cakewalk, Brom's first year. Now, I think he's had better teams every year since then.
Yeah, but they've been just
But the
playing
schedule's
harder.
been tougher.
Yeah. That SMU game is going to be a big one in week 3. So they don't really wade in gently. They're diving in head first. Look, you got anything else to share before we get out of here? We got a little long, but we love this show so much. We gotta empty the clip, you know?
No, Kentucky's sitting there at 4.5, Nick. I think we can close with this. Like I've talked about it.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be. So I think the first half of the season's tough. I think that in a lot of ways, for me, the season really starts at that South Carolina game on October 3rd. But I think you get into it late. I think they're going to have some real opportunities. Vanderbilt at home, potentially a true freshman quarterback. You know, by Tennessee, we know Tennessee's always been tough, but Florida at home, at Missouri, Louisville. I think they're going to have a chance to win some of those games once they kind of get entrenched and get settled in with the season. I think, you're going to have 2 wins early, and if you were able to pick off South Carolina, there's no way that doesn't hit. And even if it does, I think you still have a good chance at hitting it. I think they got a really good chance to go over that.
They are one of the teams that is considered to be at the bottom of the barrel. It feels like there's usually 2 or 3, but one of them isn't as bad as everybody expects.
Yeah, and interesting schedule because they don't really play.
They don't play Georgia or Texas, but they got kind of everybody else, you know?
Yeah. So, like, they could play a bunch of teams ranked between 8 and 30.
Yeah.
Right? And so just where are you at there? And my bet is, Nick, or my prediction would be that one of these teams, like whether it's a Missouri, a Vanderbilt, a Florida, I'm not saying just one of them is just going to fall off completely.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to be at the bottom of the barrel.
Right.
Yeah. One other thing, too, about Kentucky, I don't know how Vegas is going to adjust to Stein. So, like, early in the season, it goes against sort of how I think it's going to take a while for the offense to get humming. You got a first-time head coach, first-time starting quarterback. But, like, Vegas might have no idea what to do with Kentucky when it comes to team totals, passing props. So, like, just keep an eye on those. Like, you might be able to just early on hit some easy overs in those props. So, something just to put in your tickler file that Uncle Nick told you. Have this under consideration whenever you're starting to handicap. We actually get to handicap some games on Thursday's show. We've got a week 0 slate to look at. And here's another thing too, folks. You get to scout Kentucky's first opponent on Thursday night. Youngstown State opening early, not even on a Saturday. They're getting week 0 Thursday action over on ESPN Plus. So, we'll probably be chatting about that on the board. Hop on in KSR Plus, 75% off during the fall camp sale. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We appreciate you hanging out with us here. On today's show, it's one of our most fun shows of the year, and it also means that football, it's almost back. Look it. We're almost done with court cases, brother. We're so close.
I walked outside. I think it was yesterday morning with the coffee. Let the dog or try to get the dog in, and I was like, "Oh my, oh
Yeah, yeah.
oh, this feels right. Good to be back."
Oh man, it's going to be great. For Adam Luckett, I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Kroger.